Ad hominem. This fallacy occurs when an argument is rebutted by attacking the character, motive, or other attribute of the person making the argument, rather than addressing the substance of the argument itself. For example, dismissing someone's opinion on climate change because they're not a scientist. Strawman. The strawman fallacy happens when someone distorts an opponent's argument in order to make it easier to attack. Imagine someone saying, "Environmentalists care more about trees than people," which misrepresents the environmentalist's actual position. False dilemma. This is a fallacy of oversimplification that presents only two options when in reality more options are available. "You're either with us or against us," ignores the possibility of neutral or alternative positions. Slippery slope. This fallacy suggests that a relatively small first step leads to a chain of related events culminating in some significant effect. For instance, if we allow students to use calculators, soon they won't be able to do even basic math without them. Appeal to authority. While not always fallacious, this becomes a fallacy when the authority cited is not actually an expert in the field discussed. "My dentist thinks this new diet pill works, so it must be effective," fails to consult an appropriate medical authority. Post hoc ergo propter. Hoc. This fallacy assumes a cause and effect relationship just because one event follows another. The rooster crowed and then the sun rose. Hence, the rooster's crowing caused the sun to rise. Circular reasoning. This fallacy occurs when the conclusion of an argument is used as a premise of the same argument. "You can trust this news source because it's the most trustworthy source," is an example of such circular logic. Hasty generalization. This fallacy involves drawing a conclusion based on a small sample size, rather than looking at statistics that are much more in line with the typical or average situation. "My grandfather smoked his whole life and lived to 90, so smoking can't be that bad for you," ignores broader epidemiological data. Red herring. This is a diversionary tactic that avoids the key issues, often by avoiding opposing arguments rather than addressing them. For example, "We can debate the environmental impact of meat consumption another time. What's important is that it's a personal choice." Appeal to emotion. This fallacy tries to manipulate an emotional response in place of a valid or compelling argument. "Think of the children" can be an appeal to emotion if it's used to persuade others without a logical foundation for the argument. Tout quoque, also known as the "you too" fallacy. It occurs when a person turns a criticism back on the accuser, answering criticism with criticism. "You can't accuse me of being selfish. You've been just as selfish in the past." No true Scotsman. This fallacy is an appeal to purity as a way to dismiss relevant criticisms or flaws of an argument. "No true vegan would ever eat a product made by a company that sells meat," could be a way to dismiss a vegan who occasionally consumes such products. Begging the question. This fallacy occurs when an argument's premises assume the truth of the conclusion instead of supporting it. "Wealthy people are successful because they make a lot of money," assumes that making a lot of money is synonymous with success without proving it. False equivalence. This logical fallacy involves equating two things that are not equivalent. Giving kids a trophy for participation is the same as rewarding them for excellence. Ignores the different reasons behind the two rewards. Bandwagon fallacy. The bandwagon fallacy assumes something is true, or right, or good, because other people agree with it. "Everyone is buying this brand of sneakers, so they must be the best." Doesn't consider the actual quality of the sneakers. Equivocation. This fallacy occurs when a key term is used in an ambiguous way, with one meaning in one portion of the argument, and then another meaning in another portion. A feather is light. What is light cannot be dark. Therefore, a feather cannot be dark plays on the word light, having multiple meanings. Fallacy of composition. Assuming what's true about one part of something has to be applied to all, or other, parts of it. "This car has high-quality tires, so it must be a high-quality car," does not necessarily follow, as the car's overall quality may not match the quality of its tires. Fallacy of division. The opposite of the composition fallacy. This assumes something true for the whole must be true of its parts. "This is a high-quality car, so its tires must be high quality," also does not necessarily follow, as the tires could be of lower quality than the car itself. False cause. This fallacy establishes a cause and effect relationship that does not exist. Our soccer team wins every time I wear my lucky socks, so the socks must bring good luck to the team, falsely links the outcome with an unrelated action. Appeal to ignorance. This fallacy suggests that a proposition is true because it has not yet been proven false. No one has proven that ghosts don't exist, therefore they must exist, is an example where the lack of evidence against ghosts is taken as evidence for them. Sunk cost fallacy. This fallacy occurs when one continues a behavior or endeavor as a result of previously invested resources, time, money, or effort. I might as well keep watching this bad movie because I've already watched an hour of it, ignores the option to make a better choice now, regardless of past investment. Burden of proof. This is a fallacy that occurs when the burden of proof is placed on the wrong side of an argument. You can't prove that aliens haven't visited Earth, so it is reasonable to believe they have. Shifts the burden of proof from the one making the claim to the one questioning it. Appeal to tradition. This fallacy occurs when it is assumed that something is better or correct, simply because it is older, traditional, or always has been done. We should continue to use this method because it's how we've always done it. Doesn't consider the possibility that new methods might improve the outcome. Genetic fallacy. This fallacy occurs when a claim is accepted as true or false based on the origin of the claim rather than its merit. That view on climate change can't be correct. It comes from a non-scientist, dismisses the argument based on its source rather than its content. Black or white fallacy. This fallacy presents two alternative states as the only possibilities when, in fact, more possibilities exist. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Ignores the nuanced positions between the two extremes. Fallacy of the single cause. This fallacy occurs when it is assumed that there is one simple cause of an outcome, when, in reality, it may have been caused by a number of only jointly sufficient causes. Violence in movies leads to violence in the streets, overlooks other contributing factors, such as social environment and personal disposition. Remember, logical fallacies can be subtle and often persuasive, but they undermine the integrity of the argument. Spotting them is key to critical thinking and rational debate. Stay tuned for more insightful discussions on logic and reasoning. If you enjoy this content, please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for the next video.